Any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
Approve the agenda.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's see, can approval of the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now, for December Student of the Month from Oceana High School, I'm going to bring up Principal Torres.
Good evening. Oceana proudly presents Hazel Young as JUHSD Student of the Month for December. Hazel is a senior at Oceana and currently the school's senior class president. In addition to her leadership role at Oceana, Hazel is also president of our Future Medical Professionals Club and co-vice president of the Red Cross Club. She participates in other activities such as the Ocean Conservation Club, Advisory Council, tennis, and music. Hazel's active participation in her extracurricular activities never interferes with her grades. She's excelled in every academic course she's taken at Oceana. Hazel's ASB advisor, Mr. Corp, shared about her contributions to Oceana. Hazel is a person made up of equal parts incredibly hard worker and careful contemplator. While most students may have a tendency to jump into an activity head first, Hazel always checks the temperature before taking the plunge. She spends a lot of time with ASB, so I am always amazed at how well she does academically, along with her participation in sports. Hazel is a vital cog in the Oceana machine, and I am excited to see how she is going to change the world for the better. Hazel's school counselor, Ms. Aoyang, said, Hazel is an exceptional and impressive student. She is so passionate about her education and contributing to her community. One of her biggest passions is music. She is a guitarist and vocalist for 2 different bands and really enjoys songwriting as an escape from reality. She plans to minor in music in addition to pursuing pre-med. She is also diligent, insightful, driven, and kind-hearted. Hazel's Spanish teacher and senior exhibition mentor, Ms. Anderson, shares, it has been fun to watch Hazel bring the same positive attitude and endless appetite for learning to this project that she has shown in the language classroom. Throughout the project, Hazel has given equal attention to trying to understand the nuances and exploring different policies and funding patterns that can impact on how care is delivered on her topic of variability in C-section rates across different practices and different states. On behalf of Oceana High School and JUHSD, we congratulate Hazel on being selected District's December Student of the Month. Way to go.
Congratulations, Hazel. At this time, I'm going to leave it, ask the board to make any comments they wish to.
Congratulations. It's well-deserved, so I'm sure you're going to go on to do wonderful things. Thank you for your dedication to the school and just being a great person all around. I'm sure you're an inspiration for all your colleagues around you, and we wish you the best of luck in the future. So congratulations.
Yes, to echo that, congratulations, obviously, and it's good to hear all the things you're doing, and I'm sure that you're going to be doing, especially getting through a pandemic and getting back to school. Your interest in medicine, obviously, and your experience with your generation is going to be inspiring to a lot of your peers right now, I'm sure, and even beyond. So the only ask that we make sometimes is don't be shy. Feel free to come back and visit us, and you know, when you go on to, you know, all those parts of your career that hopefully you reflect on and think about the things that you can bring back to this community as well. Because I know it's not always easy. There's a need for help everywhere, but it is an honor to have you, here today and, of course, moving forward.
My apologies for being late. We had a little emergency with our cat. But
But, you know, I read through everyone's the material that they give us for all the students. And the thing that I'm constantly impressed by is how much you all are able to accomplish, regardless of what's surrounding you. So the past couple of years, even coming into this year, have been extremely challenging for me as an adult, so I can't imagine what it's been like for you. And through all of that, you were still able to push through and accomplish so much. So I'm extremely proud of you, having just read about you. I'm grateful to your support system, your family that you brought here, and I'm extremely excited to see what you can do moving forward in the future. If through this adversity, if this is what you came to accomplish, you know, the sky's the limit. So congratulations.
Well, congratulations. Really an honor that's well-deserved. And I just have a couple of quick questions for you, actually. One, what kind of music are you writing and what kind of bands are you in? Because I'm just really impressed with the fact that you're in 2 bands. So what kind of music are you playing and writing?
Currently, I'm writing more reggae and pop.
Wow.
And I do bands, we kind of mixture of stuff. So we do indie rock, and we also do pop and R&B.
And just a comment, I'm going to make sure I checked out your Senior X project because my wife was formerly a labor and delivery nurse. So that type of project is really fascinating to me, and I'm sure she would be fascinated with the results of your research as well. So when the time comes this spring, I will definitely have to make a point to check out your presentation. Thank you, congratulations.
Yes. Hazel, you're just so impressive, and you just seem so down to earth. Having survived a pandemic and still being able to do everything you're doing and finding joy in music, to be pre-med, I thought to be pre-med and minoring in music. You're such a well-rounded person, and I have to commend your family for supporting you and being there for you. You can't do this all by yourself, but I'm really looking forward to what you're going to be doing in the future, and I know that our world is in good hands. And please keep us posted on what you're up to, you know, because I know that we're probably going to want you to speak to future students about how you made it through pandemic and how well you're excelling, and definitely your Spotify channel. I'm sure we're gonna hear so many great things from you, and just congratulations. And you make us proud to be, you represent our district so very well. Thank you.
Thanks. I just wanted to comment, Hazel, that I loved Mr. Corp's comment about being both made up of incredibly hard worker, but also a careful contemplator, and that you really test the water before you jump in. And that's something that took me a very long time to learn. So I think that will serve you well. That was one of my favorite comments. And just very, very proud to have you representing Oceana and our district. And congratulations. Mm-hmm.
So let's have a picture with you and your family. This is what we traditionally do.
Oh, yeah. Squeeze you all in there. It takes a family. Go ahead. Get in there. Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. When will we say? So I'm going to follow you guys out to the hall. We're going to take a few more photos.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Hazel.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take those rest. Will you take the reserve seat? Oh, yeah, you, after, in case anybody else comes.
Okay. And now, we're going to be honoring two of our board members who are now retiring from the board. Nick Ochapenti, who has been serving for the last 8 years, and Carla N. Garrett, who has served for the last 4 years. Do we have any public comments?
I have one so far. I think maybe another card is being
Okay.
filled out. If anybody wants to
If-
comment on this item, just fill out a card. Do you want to call names now? Yes.
Yes, sorry.
Or do you,
Or we could, while people are filling out cards, we could go around if you want.
whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Okay, so would you like to make any?
You're kicking me first?
Or we could,
Yeah, no, it's fine.
or Carla can speak.
No, it's fine.
Nick.
Yeah, no. So, serving on a board is really hard because we don't pick who we serve with. The community does, and we have to rise above and work together. And that could be challenging with the amount of time that we are able to spend together. Most of the time that we spend together is in front of an audience. So trying to learn how to communicate and talk to each other and get work done while people watch you. Like, I have a hard time typing sometimes when somebody's watching me, let alone trying to think cognitively and not feel or cave into pressure in order to do the things that are right and do it in a way that is united, where we don't always have to agree, but we're constantly putting out the message that we're serving the people in the district. So it is not easy work to be a school board member and support a staff, and a lot of the decisions that are made may not be something that we agree with, but having to always continue and support is very challenging. And so I commend both of you for stepping up to do the work. With Nick, we have been through two superintendent, the whole process of picking a superintendent, and we did one superintendent search and interview and actually picking a superintendent in one weekend. And so we spent the entire weekend together as a board, committed to the work. And so those are the moments that I look back on, that having to, when times got tough, pull together and do what we had to do in order to support the district. So I'm grateful for the work that you did in order so that we could have leadership. I'm grateful for your constant voice in ensuring that we move forward with ethnic studies, and we wouldn't have gotten as far if you hadn't spoken out on it. And while we didn't agree all the time, that's okay, because I lean into the work that we did together in order to get us here. And then Carla, I'm gonna try to not get emotional. You always.
Oh, please do not.
I know, I'm trying, Carla. I'm trying. I said I was going to try. I've never met somebody that is as positive as you are, and are constantly like your sole mission is to uplift. Like, and I don't know anybody that just gives and has that type of spirit like that, and never expects anything in return. Never. And it's, you underappreciate that about yourself, and how much support you gave to the rest of us. Like, I wouldn't have been able to get through a lot of things if I hadn't had you to fall back on. And always knowing, like, you know, when things got tough, getting a call or text from you saying, you know, you're doing great work, keep pushing forward. I support you. I appreciate you. It just means so much. And, you know, I'm going to miss that. I'm going to really miss that. So you know, your heart and what you give was apparent, and it was so needed when we were going through everything with the pandemic, to just have someone who just was there to show comfort and understanding and empathy. That was really what we needed at that time. And so thank you so much for all of the work and care that you gave, the constant work to uplift Thornton, and to make sure that those voices that are usually unheard and marginalized were brought up to where they should be, and a reminder to all of us to keep that school as a school, what it is. So I appreciate everything that both of you did, and, you know, thank you.
I'm still be texting you, don't
Thank
worry.
you. Thank you. Don't stop.
Nick, I appreciate, you know, I think, in thinking back, actually, very specifically, you know, one of the things that I was coming on the board, one of the things that I was weakest on, frankly, was special ed. And actually, there were a lot of things that you would say in these meetings, and even that you probably even said to me one-on-one in various conversations through the years, where you would say something, you'd teach me about something about special ed, and I'd research further, and it just helped enhance what I learned, and I really appreciate that, what you were able to teach me through the years on that. And you were with us from the beginning when we started talking about workforce housing and what became 705 Serramonte, and you were part of that journey with us. And so I appreciate the time that you took to be a part of that journey. I know it's been an interesting ride, but I appreciate the diverse opinions that you've brought to the table. And thank you. And Carla, my Chindo sister, my Chinese Indonesian sister, what can I say? I just, it's been a ride. And I never expected that when you came on in 2018, that you would become an important part of my life on a personal level. And so I really, really appreciate the times that we've spent, especially when we were traveling to the conferences in San Diego, or even when we were in San Francisco. I mean, there were just things that sometimes that you and I could spend one-on-one, and that I just simply appreciate. And as Kalima said, the infectious joy that you've brought to all the proceedings and to the different things we've been a part of, I will miss. And it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you on this board, and I really thank you, truly thank you for your work the past 4 years.
Nick, you know, we grew up in this district, you know, and I've always appreciated that you, having been a graduate of this district, that you always had the students' best interests in mind. And I always appreciated your input on ethnic studies and special education. I was also lacking in that, and I always turned to Kalima and you to ask the hard questions, or you always provided some insights into special education that I always appreciated. We've been through so much together, and we've done so much good work. Boy, and here I'm reminding me of the superintendent searches. We went through a lot together. We had hard conversations with our district leadership when we were all united on that. And you helped make it possible for the educator housing. And that was such a huge lift for all of us, and something we should always be proud of. I know you've also, during your 8 years, have suffered personal loss. And there are times you just kept it to yourself. And, but you were there for me when I lost my mom and dad. You were at the funeral and the memorial, and always appreciate that. And I just wish you good health and happiness always. And thank you. And Carla, I met you at Thornton Back to School night, and immediately we had so many things in common. And you speak from your heart. And that is something that I've tried to do, but I just don't do it as well as you do. There are times you would speak in board meetings that I go, she says it so well, because it's there. And I always looked up to you when you did things like that, because you would say things that I wanted to say, and you just said it so well. And there are times we'd go to events, and you made best friends right away. You knew people that you just met, and you remembered their names, and it would introduce me around, and so many people would already know you within the first 10, 15 minutes. And it was just like this incredible gift you have, because you're such a genuine, friendly person. But you also don't take crap, which I love about you as well.
I try not to.
Yeah, you are very honest, and you have so much integrity. I'm going to miss you, but I know we're going to, I'm going to just look at my phone, and there'll be all the heart emojis from you and all the different emojis, and I can't do emoji the way you can either, but you are like my sister, and I'm very grateful for you, and I'm going to miss you on this board. But, we're forever connected. And I want to thank your family for, giving you to us. And those times that we were having board meetings online, and we would just see you helping them with their homework, or they would join us in the meeting. I just thank you so much for giving her to us, because I know she put in a lot of work, a lot of weekends too. So would you like to say something?
Yes, I generally just want to thank you both for your dedication to the school district. I don't think that, the general public understands what a time commitment it is, and the dedication that you have to have. I appreciate both of you for taking weekends out, showing up at school events, being there for students, taking a special interest in making sure that the lives of students are improved by being here, tackling, the systemic barriers that we create, trying to break those down. And so I respect that quite a bit. And I feel like much has been said here already, but I just want you to know that, the staff of the district, knows and sees what you do, and we're very grateful for it. And I wish both of you all the best.
Oh, we have blue cards.
The first speaker is Clayton Koo.
Good evening, and just say nice to see you all again. I just want to congratulate Trustee Ochapinti and Trustee Ian Garrett for their service to the school district. Also, being an outgoing trustee as well too, I understand how much time, commitment it takes for you to do the job, passion, dedication to the school district and the community. So just want to say thank you for all of your service there. Trustee Ochapinti, I just want to say congratulations and thank you for all your years of service. I've worked with you on and off throughout my term, so I just want to say thank you for your insights, knowledge, just to be able to engage with you across county and CSBA. So just want to say thank you for all you do, your diverse opinions. I know at times it's not always easy to be the odd man out, but I will say for a board to be run effectively, that those insights and those feedback actually are really important. So I just want to say thank you for always standing up for what you believe in and never holding back on what you stood for. And Trustee Ian Garrett, want to say thank you as well too. A month ago on my outgoing meeting, she came to my meeting, and I just want to make sure I return the favor and just say thank you as well too.
No favor returned either.
thank you for always being there for anytime I had questions about what was going on in my school district, being able to see and engage you at your school events, the county, CSBA, and elsewhere. I know the commitment you take out as well, too. And I just wanted to say thank you for your dedication as well. Wishing you guys both the very, very best. And thank you again.
It's not, I'm assuming it's this agenda item, Maurice? Yeah, Maurice Goodman.
Good evening, everyone. I didn't know what I was going to say, but I know I had to say something. But I think you touched on it about that you can't choose who you serve with, and that's a lot similar to a family. I know each and every one of you in different ways, met you at different times in your lives, and there has definitely been some joys, some pains, and some sorrow, but it was always shared. And what I remember and recognize is the sense of family between each and every one of you, of the memories that I've shared that you all have for each other and the respect. And I think you touched on it a little bit about the loss. A few of you had losses, and what I can recall is that you all rallied around each other because you care about each other. So that's what I see. But what I want to say to the two outgoing trustees is congratulations. And this work is sometimes thankless. You sacrifice hours and time. Sometimes you're frustrated. Sometimes you're happy. You're all a broad range of emotions. But what I remember and what I know of both of you is that you've always been committed to keeping the focus on our students. From equity to addressing housing for our faculty and our staff, you've always focused on our students. And as long as you do that, it doesn't matter about the sense of dysfunction, because it's all needed. It's all needed to make sure that this unperfectly run machine is run in a way that keeps the focus on our students, our faculty, our staff, and ensuring that you're good stewards. More than anything, it's about stewardship. And that's what I see in each and every one of you, but in particular you two that have truly have earned the ability to be able to look back and say, we left this district better off than it was when you got here. So for that, I say thank you and enjoy your retirement, and hopefully, you're going to be doing some things in the future in your own lives. So thank you.
I forgot to say, Millbury Councilmember-elect Maurice Goodman.
Not till next week.
It's okay, we can say it now. I said Councilmember-elect. Yeah.
Yes, Jefferson student.
So we have Jefferson Elementary trustee Shakil Ali.
Good evening, everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces and people that I've worked with in several ways. But I'm here tonight to honor our two outgoing trustees. Ms. Garrett, we didn't get a chance to become chummy or anything.
It's okay, I met you last month finally. It's okay, it's okay.
But my respect is there, regardless. Being able to hear even from Nick, the work that you've done and your demeanor, your professionalism. Thank you for your service. And Nick, there's so much I could say. I only have 2.5 minutes. But a lot of people don't know that Nick is the reason why I actually went back to school and got my master's and credential and became a special ed teacher. A lot of principals and superintendents were asking me to do that and encouraging me. And I said no, because I like being free and being an entrepreneur and whatever. So, but Nick was relentless. He kept saying, no, we need you. And he wanted me to go to the school where he was working. And it ended up that I'm there now teaching full time, tenured and everything. And still in the community, on the front lines, paid and unpaid work. Nick and I have been all over together advocating for youth and standing up for the community And Nick, you maintained your integrity. You never let anything get you all the way down. And I'm just so happy that I was able to encourage you and you were able to encourage me, and look at all the work that we've done. And so I don't see this as a retirement for you. I already know the amount of energy you have and your ambition to see progress in our community. So I'm looking forward to continuing the work with you in education and youth development, housing, peace building, ethnic studies. I mean, I could just go slash. I don't even see whatever the dysfunction that was mentioned tonight. I just see struggle. Without struggle, there's no progress. And Nick is a true progressive. So we've been blessed to have you as a Daly City head, a Daly City public servant, and just all around champion for our community. Thank you so much. And thanks for everyone for all your service as well. Thank you.
Next up, we have Monica Casey.
On behalf of AFT 1481, I just want to thank the both of you for your service, working in your realms for the staff, with the union. You've always been right there working on what we need to work on. Even if we don't agree on exactly how to get there, we know we're doing things for students. And so I just want to thank both of you. Nick, we've worked together a long time, starting at Thornton with me, having you in my classes, working with the students. And so seeing you in that realm and then seeing you here is just really a pleasure to see you growing. And Carla, similarly from Thornton here, as a parent, and seeing you jump on this train and go for this ride, I appreciate you. It's not easy to do what any of us do in public education. And so, we all have to work hard, and we do. And it's nice to work with all of you.
Thank you. And the last card I have is Melissa Ambrose.
Hi, both of you. Just as the district wellness coordinator, I want to really extend my deepest gratitude that both of you are constantly looking out for the most vulnerable students, the most vulnerable families, always supporting mental health, always supporting wellness, always thinking about equity, always trying to do like little tiny chinks that, we're all like trying to make little chinks in the wall of inequity to bring it down. And it's perfectly imperfect, but as the wellness coordinator, regardless of what the situation was, I've always known that in your hearts, taking care of the whole community was paramount. And I think our students have really greatly benefited from a district with a board that has heart, from a district with a board that's not a board because it's a political stepping ladder, but because people actually care about young people and understand their power and their worth and their value when the rest of the world often tells them that they are invisible completely. So I just really want to express my gratitude, and I'm sure the gratitude of the entire wellness staff, for seeing that young people are more than grades, that young people are more than the colleges they do or they don't go to, and that young people, the deep humanity that young people need to have nurtured and honored. Appreciate both of you.
Yeah. So we have certificates from us and also from Jackie Spear, as well as our local legislators. So if you'd like to come to the center and we'll. Oh, no, I don't want them to talk. Okay, no, go right ahead. We'll start with Mr. Ochapinti.
You write stuff out for nothing.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Mr. Ochapinti, Nick.
First, thank you all for the kind words and sentiments and memories. Obviously, there are no goodbyes. This is our community, sitting here, watching online, now or later. And it's an honor to be honored. It's an honor to serve the people in my city, in my school district, here in Daly City, Brisbane, Broadmoor, Colma, Pacifica, and of course, the San Francisco Bay Area, as an educator and as a former student in this district, and then a volunteer, intern, and a teacher, a substitute teacher here, and ultimately to serve as a public official in my community. That's an honor. It's an honor to serve. And so for me, I could say a lot tonight. I could thank everybody. It's a long list. Many of you here today, I do appreciate deeply. And obviously, everybody here, I think when we talk about teamwork, teamwork makes the dream work. Sometimes the dream isn't what you thought it was, what you wanted it to be in the beginning, but you have to fight for it. And you cannot give up, and you cannot, I don't want to say compromise, but you cannot compromise your own integrity in the path of doing that. I think that this means something different to everybody, obviously. But I left high school here in this district, and I went to college, and right away, my commitment was to the truth, to understanding why I was learning something had to mean something, to reflect on that and to take action on that. It's not something that I think anybody doesn't know. We know when we see it on the street, in our city or in other cities. We know when we see it in the classroom or outside the classroom. We know when we see it at home or anywhere in the world. And when we watch the news, those things spoke to me in a way that I wanted to come back to my community, no matter what college I went to or what job I had, and to make sure I served, to make sure I made something count, so that my family could be supported and my community could be supported as an extension of that, and of course, to make a change in the world that we tell our students that we want them to believe in and be part of that change. And so genuinely, being part of that drove me to get involved in my campus community as a campus organizer, as a union organizer who is not part of a union, but worked minimum wage jobs in retail, in service, here in Serramonte, down the street. If many of you remember Montgomery Ward before it became Target, or Blockbuster, or any of these stores, Hollywood Video, many of my customers I still see, in stores or in the community. Those things mean something to me because, like any former student and current student I see in the community, I need them to understand that whatever they're hoping and dreaming still got a shot of happening as long as they're committed to it and put their mind to it, put their energy into it. And so, when I see the UC workers on strike right now and understand that this should be the same thing happening at the CSU and at any university level, in any aspect of in any sector of our economy and our society, to understand that layoffs at Amazon or at Twitter or any other business affect our entire community, especially here in the Bay Area. We should see these things happening as part of our own struggle. And so one of the first things I realized as a college student was those were also things that affected me. And so we fought to get a union at the UC when I was there. We fought to get affirmative action back at the UC and the CSU. We made sure that we wouldn't let go issues of bilingual education, ethnic studies, and even if it took 5, 10, 20 years to make those things happen, that we're going to make them happen regardless of what else is happening around that, because we're committed to something bigger than all of us. We're part of something larger than ourselves. I can speak to it at length. Obviously, we don't have all night, and a lot of us have spent many nights here, speaking on these issues. It is my hope and my belief that our students understand these things. Now that we have ethnic studies in our district, I have every hope and I have full faith that they will carry out everything they want to do and see in our community moving forward. It is a very tough economy right now, but the truth is our economy is not, our economy is us. Our college and career hopes are our future that our students put together and that we as trustees are entrusted with making sure is a reality in our community. And so as a trustee, I believe I need to be committed to the truth. This is not the last night we're going to be talking about these things, obviously, but it is the last night that we'll be here talking about it in this room. Although I would like to remind the community that your voice is the most important voice at this table. Whether or not you choose to run for office or whether you can or cannot vote, it being election night is not something that lost on me. And I think a lot of the things in our community that we've made possible here in these years, I do appreciate, whether or not we agreed on things, whether or not we had time to be, I think, inclusive of all those voices, makes less of a difference because what's most important is what we do moving forward. So, my message to my fellow colleagues as well is that as a member of this community, I will continue to hold you to the highest standard of integrity in public policy and in terms of best practices in education and any issue that affects public education. And as education has changed in the last few years during a pandemic, I believe we need to change, and our priorities need to match that. And so I hope that everybody here continues to be involved. I know many of you work here, many of you are part of our district community, and I want to say I love and appreciate all of you, and look forward to seeing you all in the community because I will be here, and we will be here. Thank you.
I usually don't have stuff written down, but I speak from the heart, as they would say. But it's my last meeting, and I didn't want to really try not to miss anything that I really wanted to say, so I kind of thought about it, and so there's just a few things that I wanted to message out tonight. So anyway, so just bear with me. It's a little long. But. So I just want to say that it's been an honor and a privilege to be a good steward to our students, our families, our faculty, and staff in our community. I'm really grateful for that. Not many's been afforded the opportunity to serve in this capacity as a board of trustees at Jefferson Union High School. So this position hasn't been held, a lot of people have held it, so I'm really privileged to be able to be here and to serve the 4 years. So I'm most grateful for being able to get out of my comfort zone and being challenged to learn something that I knew nothing about when I started on this board. I knew nothing. So, and I definitely have learned a lot through the 4 years that I've been here. That I'm grateful for being able to gain a better understanding of some of the educational lingo, such as LCAP, the budget, California School Dashboard. So I'm proud to say I know a few of those things now after 4 years. Thanks to Ms. Baca and Ms. Van Rapworth most of the time for helping me and walking me through all those acronyms and such. So thank you for that. I'm also grateful for all the wonderful friendships that I've made for the last 4 years, which I will continue to cherish. We've truly weathered the storm here. So I thank each and every one of you in the room that's been here with me through every board meeting, just thick and thin. So, and I also want to mention a few things that I'm proud of being a board member. The completion of the educational housing for teachers and staff during my time here. I know was a big feat, and I'm proud to have been present through all of that, and that we're able to house all the teachers and staff so that they're able to stay and live here and be in the community. I think that's a really important thing, and that they stay a while. It's a good thing. We talk over and over again about how we don't have enough money to pay the teachers, and I hope that the housing would somewhat supplement the income that they so deserve while educating our students here in the community. So I am also proud of being able to have a voice in the implementation of ethnic studies and also grading for equity in our school district, which I think we really do truly need to change the mindset of how we're grading our students and, and what we're teaching in the classroom. So, also that I am proud of knowing that there is a constant continual improvement on getting a better understanding of students' root causes through empathy and counseling instead of just treating the symptoms. So I'm really proud that we are continuing the work to do that in the school district. Thanks in part to Ms. Ambrose over there, as she has mentioned. That despite the pandemic, I am proud that our school district is continued to make strides to close the educational gap and get students to and through high school and hopefully onto college or whichever vocational career that they so choose. I'm really proud that I am able to make an impact for students to be able to do that here, especially in Thornton. I know Dr. Marenko has made great strides over there as well as all the rest of the other schools. I would like to thank my husband, Eric, Riley, and Bryce, my mom, for the continued support to be able to do this work in the last 4 years. I'm sure you've seen them all on Zoom once or twice through the last 4 years, especially through the pandemic, and especially seeing Bryce saying hi and me yelling at him and forget to mute. I also like to personally thank my board brother and sisters, Ms. Salahuddin, Mr. Lee, Ms. Tahada, for the camaraderie and the friendship, and I'm really grateful for all of you, which I will definitely cherish and continue to cherish, and we'll still talk, after tonight. So I would also like to thank Superintendent Presta, Exec Cabinet, Ms. Van Vaphorst, Ms. Basuino, Ms. Baca, Ms. Lujan, Mr. Warden over there, Mr. Meyer and Jordan, Chelsea. I'm going to miss all the Panera every night and Panda Express at every board meeting. I appreciate you all very much, all your tireless years of work and dedication, all the teachers and staff to educating our students and still continue to do so after my last meeting. So, this is an institution. It's not going anywhere. We as people will come and go, but hope that while we are here that we're able to make some sort of impact to improve the lives of students and families and our community. So I would also like to thank those who are here tonight who have supported me during my role as trustee, including but not limited to, and in no particular order, former trustee Koo, trustee Goodman, Trustee Ali over there tonight. I didn't put you on, I didn't know you were showing up, so thank you for being here. You're an impromptu. Dr. Marenko, Ms. Talkoff, Mr. Lopez, Ms. Casey, all the Thornton teachers and staff here tonight, Ms. Ambrose. I hope that I didn't miss anybody. Ms. Torres for being here tonight. I'd also like to thank Superintendent Vidales, former Trustee Drapkin, Ms. Hawkins, Ms. Murphy, Dr. Deloria, and Ms. Bell, and a host of other colleagues and friends who are not here tonight, but supported me through my time here. So thank you all for that. I really do appreciate everything. And again, thanking everyone. It's definitely been a pleasure to serve my community, and I will definitely continue to do so in other capacities. So that's it, I think. That was long.
Hey.
But thank you all. I really appreciate you, and definitely have learned a lot, and truly has been a life-changing experience for me. So thank you.
Well, thank you both.
Thank you.
And now we have. Can we have a picture taken in the center? And you want to move up there? Jefferson from us, and also one from Jackie Spear.
This resolution from the conference.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Did I do it right? Is that okay? It's like the thing's like half the size of me.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Thank you both so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know, yeah. Do we want to just adjourn from the?
Yes, I'm going to.
So now we're going to adjourn to our
Look at your hair, see?
Everybody's invited next door for some treats and coffee for a little reception. Now for communications, our board report. Trustee Garrett.
I think I've said enough tonight. But thank you. I mean, I truly appreciate every single one of you in this room for sticking it out with me for the last 4 years. And it has not been easy. Some days it's been difficult. Some days it's fun as hell. But I love all of you, and I thank you all. You are all just treasures in my heart. So thank you very much. That's all I can say. Before I start crying, let me just, but yes.
Yeah, just echo that. I mean, at the end of the semester and at this year, there's so many changes. It is an election night, and just as a teacher, knowing our students are getting ready for finals, good luck to our students during finals. And of course, thank you to all the students that have, made this trip as a public official possible. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the students in our community and the families, and of course, all of my current students and former students. Not only I feel like honored to have been your teacher, I've learned a lot from you as well. And so, good luck to everybody this year, and happy holidays.
So, on non-specific school board issues and elections, I was very proud to see my good friend Noelia Corzo be elected as the first Latina to the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors. So I'm excited that people understood that it's enough. It's not enough to just say you want representation. Like, you need to see it. And so for all of the young people who are now seeing, someone who comes from their community, who was raised in their community, who looks like them in that seat, who also was a dedicated school board member. And, I think there's a devaluing of the roles that school board members play, especially when they're running against somebody who's on the city council. And our office needs to be respected. We do a very, the work that we do versus the work that city council members do, there shouldn't be compared. We are all uplifting and holding up our communities. And so I'm glad that people saw through that and elected her to that seat. Yesterday, I was at our student advisory council meeting. I always love going to student advisory council. I did let them know that to come to the next meetings to be sworn in. So they're really excited about that.
They're going to be sworn in January.
Okay, I will tell them the January to be sworn in.
I think it's finals.
They were fine coming in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if we could do it, if it's fine, because they're fine coming in. We had that discussion. And the last thing is CSBA. It was really good being at CSBA conference, and I know when I first started going to CSBA, I wanted to be a school district that did something of importance enough to be able to present, and now this is to be the second year presenting at CSBA, and have it be well received was great. Thank you.
Yeah, the conference was fantastic. Learned a lot. A couple of good sessions that I attended one on equity, I think with my couple of my fellow board members. And then I attended one on sustainability on Saturday morning, which is really good, how one school district is addressing sustainability issues with their facilities. So in their attempt to attain net zero by 2045. So it was just good to just hear what type of steps they're taking incrementally to gradually get there. And then, yes, and to echo what you were saying, Ms. Alavina, with regards to being able to present about our 705 ceremony and to be able to speak to so many districts that were just interested in doing the exact same thing and to be able to hear where they are in their process. All good stuff. So thank you.
So I was honored at the PCT Honors event, and it was really well done production, and it was I got to see the studio, and I had my sister-in-law with me, which was really was really nice because she's lived in Pacifica for the last 50 years, and she never knew this side ever existed, and she just thought it was so nice, and it was humbling, but to be honored along with our Mike O'Neill, with our district, and our teacher Alyssa Jenkins was especially special to me. And I did also enjoy the CSBA conference. Just walking around, whenever I'd meet people and they'd see I was from Jefferson Union, they immediately said, "Oh, you're doing the housing." So I felt like a celebrity. But we're doing good, but it was affirming that we're doing good work, and I learned a lot at a lot of the workshops as well. And Ms. Presta?
Okay, thank you. I don't have a lot to report today, except to say that CSBA was great. The sessions were great. I, too, was really proud to be recognized as a member of JUHSD. Really, the thing other than, and it was great bonding. It's really a great opportunity for board members, for us to, for the whole team to get to know each other better, and also to get to know other districts, board members from other districts and superintendents from other districts. So that was really nice. But what I really want to focus on is the fact that I was able to be off-site from, Tuesday on this last week with the full faith and confidence in my team. So our district, was run very smoothly in my absence, and so I want to thank them publicly because I always know that that will be the case. Other than that, yeah, I think that's it, actually. Thank you.
And now for the AFT Local 1481 report, Ms. Casey?
Hello again. So as the AFT 1481 president, I participate in a lot of CFT, which is the California Union of Educators and Classified Employees. So I meet with a lot of the presidents and other members up and down the state. This past weekend, there was a committee meeting, and I'm on the committee for basically K through 12. And the items that we're working on that we want to make up resolutions for CFT so that our legislative department can basically lobby the California legislature are the staff shortage crisis, trying to mitigate the shortcomings and barriers with induction programs, making it easier for entry into teaching. Then the other thing we talked about was employee safety concerns. A lot of the students that maybe were not used to schooling, and especially the lower grades, talked a lot about the issues with the students that were out of school and kind of need to be re-socialized in how to deal with the parameters of the school day. So that's one of the things we were talking about. And what kind of interventions, as we know, we're in a situation where we want to do something, but there's things we can't do and we shouldn't do, but what do you do? Because if one person is saying this is happening and another person is saying what is happening about that, you feel like you want to do something, but you have to do the right thing. And maybe the person, oftentimes the adult, is saying not enough is being done. So this is happening up and down the state, throughout the whole nation, and we're all in it together. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that everyone's having this issue. People are saying the administration's not doing enough. and the administration saying, I know what we used to do wasn't the right thing to do either. And so many of us are talking about this. It's just we've got to figure out how to help our students do better and get them what they need. And a lot of it is the mental health, wellness, and that's helping, but we need more of it. That's another concern that we brought up. And then standardized testing. And I don't feel like this is something in our district, but obviously this is one of the committees, is the standardized testing. And then in some districts, they're adding their own standardized testing constantly. They're constantly testing their students. And I'm just thankful that that's not our issue. So to be on that committee and help them understand that it's not always necessary to test, you know, so. And I think that's about it right now. So I just wanted to report on that committee that we were on, and it's important work that I do on the weekend as well. Like you're all doing weekend work, and I'm like, yeah, me too. So
Of course.
it's good stuff. So
Thank you. Superintendent Presta, do we have any COVID-19 update?
I'm going to turn it over to Associate Superintendent Basquino.
Okay.
Hi. So over-the-counter COVID tests were distributed to all families the week prior to Thanksgiving break with instructions to take a test the Sunday before returning and the Wednesday after returning. We continue to monitor and update our COVID dashboard, sending out biweekly site notifications and staff close contact notifications. We will also be distributing tests to staff and families prior to winter break as well.
Okay, thank you. Now on to our consent agenda.
Move to approve consent.
Again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do we have any public comment? No. All right. Now for our discussion items, our Oceana High School update. Principal Torres.
Can't get rid of me. Good evening, President Tejada and members of the board. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm assuming that I can do that. Okay, great. So this is Oceana's current mission statement. I'm not going to read it because our leadership body actually evaluated this mission and decided that it's not really reflective of our school and doesn't embody everything that we do. So we're actually in the process of updating our mission and developing a vision statement. We're hoping to have that together by early next spring. So that's to come. These are our school-wide outcomes that we truly value. These outcomes are what we are hoping our students will achieve by the time they graduate. And just to briefly summarize, we want students to be communicators, problem solvers, critical thinkers, inclusive community members, and that they really take care of their own wellness. So a few highlights from Oceana that I want to share is that we proudly practice shared leadership, where our major decisions are decided by elected staff and community members through our academic council. Shared leadership doesn't stop at this elected staff and community members, but it's seen throughout our campus through various leadership roles. We have a very collaborative culture. We value and we spend lots of time working through things together. We have a very passionate and dedicated staff that is often going above and beyond the minimum for the better of Oceana students. This year, we have successfully implemented flex time into our schedule. And also, our anti-racism committee is in its second year and developing more staff development time for this school year, which I talk a little bit about more in another slide. So although we have lots to be proud of, we definitely have challenges that come up this school year. The first is around communication. I think we've done a lot of great work in building our communication, but this is such an important area that we don't really believe that we're done with creating a two-way communication between our families and our staff. And part of the challenge or the need that we have with communication is that we want to communicate to our community about our program and do it really thoughtfully. Another thing that came to our attention this year is our CAS scores. Our CAS scores are lower than expected, lower than previous before pandemic year. And at this point, we're just keeping an eye on it to see if this is a trend or if this is a 1 year. So it's something that we are looking at. Lastly, we have a new principal. Who is that? Which means we have a new admin team. And, even though I've been at Oceana for a decade, I've never done this position. I am introduced to new challenges and new responsibilities that I didn't know were mine until really getting into this position. So Oceana is transitioning with a new admin team, and that brings its own challenges and kind of learning curves, which just means that there's learning opportunities and areas that we can improve. And I just want to bring in one example because it's relevant. The example is the SIPSA. So I only made a few changes for this school year, and I didn't make many changes from last school year. I didn't think it was best to have too many changes being a first-year principal because I didn't fully understand kind of the best practice to implement the SIPSA. Since starting this position, I think I've learned so much already, and I have all these ideas of how I want to implement the SIPSA, but it's not reflected in this document at all. And that's just because I didn't have that knowledge or understanding when I took this position in July. So these are our 6 goals on the SIPSA. We want to improve students satisfying A through G requirements, decrease the number of no marks, Ds, and Fs, improve and enhance anti-racism teaching and learning, increase access to general education classes for students with IEPs, increase for support for student and staff well-being, and increase communication with all stakeholders. So in each of these slides, I put the strategies associated with that goal, but I'm not going to be reading each of those strategies. I'll just be calling out a couple of each of those strategies. So for this one, in Goal 1, we have a strategy of teaching teams to collaborate. Now, you'll see this strategy in many of the goals, and that's because that's kind of the core of Oceana, is how much we collaborate. And in the end, you can see that the bulk of our money goes to collaboration in teaching teams and learning areas. Our certificate staff also work in peer coaching groups. And this is staff across learning areas to support their practices in small groups, small group discussions. For Goal 2, we support students to successfully complete the senior exhibition by offering additional time for them to get support. So when a major deadline is close, we offer Saturday support for identified students. So this is students that particularly need support. And it's actually happening this Saturday where staff members come and work for a full day with students to dive deep in the capstone project. We kind of learned with a project at this magnitude is that a 1 hour here and there of support isn't as effective as a full day of diving really deep into a particular part of their paper. So we've been doing this for a couple of years. Another major strategy for this goal is implementing flex time. One reason that we introduced flex time was that so that students can have additional academic support built into the school day. Our hope is that this will support students in increasing their grades without the added stress of trying to find time outside of the school day. For Goal 3, we are implementing ethnic studies to all 9th graders. I asked the teaching team to share something going on in the class, and Mr. Arzaga shared that once a week, students have been taking turns inviting the spirit of one of their ancestors, a family member or extended family member, living or dead, into their learning space. They share their ancestors' story, which include immigration to U.S., struggles to find employment, but also joy in raising a family and hobbies and pastimes that bring them happiness. Students then share why their ancestors bring inspiration. It's a way for students to be seekers, keepers, and tellers of our families and communities' stories. So it's exciting to see the work of ethnic studies that has happened, and to actually see it on campus at Oceana is pretty special. So in addition, we have our anti-racism committee is in here too. Our goal for this year is to support staff to recognize our biases, practice with tools responding to incidents of racism, and interrogate and shift systems to be anti-racist. The committee is organizing 4 staff development days or staff meetings this school year, 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring, and we're organizing a book club. So far, we've completed 2 of those staff meetings. At the last meeting, each certificated staff created a focus question to interrogate this school year. For Goal 4, we've scheduled SII math pods in the same room as tutorial classes. The idea of this is that students would have a greater ability to take general education classes when their math pod isn't strict to one period, that they can get into across the school day, which means access to other general education classes. For Goal 5, we are updating our staff lounge with new furniture, which is long overdue. We will be installing lockers in our gender-neutral bathrooms. We have 2 gender-neutral bathrooms that are just outside the gym, right by our gym locker. They would feel more comfortable dressing in the gender-neutral bathrooms. So we kind of took a look at the space, and it looks like we can fit about 2 to 4 lockers in each of those bathrooms, and this is in progress. We also had a community art project that was proposed by our visual and performing arts teacher, who will be updating various arts around Oceana's campus with current students' work, which hasn't been done in a while. And for Goal 6, we are working with the district office to help us get a new and working marquee, and that's to better communicate major events and information. It might take a little longer than I expected, but hopefully that's to come next school year. In addition, we're working closer with our parent organization, OSPTO, to host community events on campus to really get people together. So we recently did a trivia night, and next semester we're doing another community event that used to occur many years ago. It used to be called the Spaghetti Feed, but they're not going to be serving spaghetti, so we're thinking of a different name for it. But OSPTO is really taking that on and really focusing on community and bringing us together, it's just fantastic working with the president there. Lastly, here is a summary of our expenditures. This includes different funding sources, so not just site funds. As you can see, the bulk of our money is spent on collaboration, but we're also using funds for professional development, senior exhibition support, general improvements, field trips, community events, and of course, anti-racism committee and ethnic studies curriculum support. And that's all I have, so thank you so much for your time.
Let's see, I'm going to open it up to the board if you have any questions or comments.
All the work that you continue to do. I know it's my last meeting, but you were definitely the right fit for that school to continue on to make progress there. So, and I love all the updates that you are doing, especially with the mission statement to better reflect really what the school is about. And I think that really says a lot. So, so thank you, Ms. Torres.
Yeah. One, of course, thank you for your work and everybody at Oceana. It's a community I know, way back when I was there, it was a smaller school and it grew over the years very quickly at times and functions as both, I think, a small school and a comprehensive in a larger sense. So it's amazing to see the range of different options that our district has, and of course with Oceana, building on some of the things that I think Oceana has kind of been some of the first to do in our district. And so, as a special education, a teacher in special education, working in general education classrooms, co-teaching to me is part and parcel of all our jobs. No matter what part of education you work in, our students all benefit from, I think, a holistic and a well-rounded education. And that includes, when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, things like ethnic studies. And so this is one of the first presentations, and of course, SIPSA to really move forward with ethnic studies and what that looks like in our district will surely be shaped by our entire district community and certainly our students. But to have an update to see that some of the progress is already being seen and felt on campus, which I know Oceana has worked to include in as much ways as possible over the years, the course itself makes a big difference. And so, that and of course the update to the art in the campus, of course preserving the generations of art that we have there. We have a mural here from Serramonte Del Rey, somewhere in storage as well. There's, I think, a ton of things that each of our campuses should be sharing. So I guess my first question would be, what kind of collaboration are we seeing in terms of the work at Oceana with other schools in the district? And I know it's year 2 coming back in person, so there's a lot of things that we have to catch up on each campus, but what collaboration and conversations are happening right now, not just in terms of ethnic studies, but in terms of co-teaching, in terms of collaboration and professional development, and what conversations do you look forward to having as well that haven't happened yet?
Yeah, I think I think what's great about our district is that we're all willing to work with one another, or happy to work with one another, because we can learn a lot from each other. And there's a lot of different learning areas that are actually meeting with other school sites to see how they can better align and better support their curriculum building at our site and vice versa. With co-teaching, the co-directors of special education are fantastic and giving us some professional development constantly throughout the school year. And I know some of our teachers, the co-teaching at Oceana, are going to participate in that professional development, and I believe other school sites are going to be joining. And I think that can support those conversations to continue happen across the schools.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I think it's smart to wait before you make huge changes, especially to the SIPSA. Learn the process and the jobs and build the relationships first. So, thank you. And I know that's also like being vulnerable enough to make that type of decision is, thank you for that as well. So, getting through the SIPSA, like I had to kind of do a refresher to me because I haven't seen the dashboard. Like all these things are now coming back into play, and a lot of it wasn't making sense. And I think it's because of the break. Like some of the data in here is a little contradictory to each other, and I think it's because the data is insufficient. So I don't know how heavily I'm going to weigh this moving forward. But the two things that stood out, and if you can answer it now, that's okay. If you need to get back to me, that's okay too, because of all the traveling, everything. I didn't have time to send questions in advance. But questions on the CTE and that we didn't, on that benchmark of how many students completed their A to G and had a CTE requirement, it was all zeros. And so I know the setup of Oceana is unique in trying to get the number of CTE classes into Oceana as other schools is different. So that was my first question is, is there a challenge there? Do we have enough CTE offerings?
So Oceana has different high school requirements. So we actually don't have a CTE requirement.
Yeah.
And we do community service. So the number of CTE classes that we offer are very small amount. Currently, we have 3. But with that saying, our foods program is, we're trying to figure out how to grow that program because it's so popular, and the current teacher just got their CTE certification, and so and that's just kind of a, like staffing numbers kind of puzzle that that we're trying to look into.
And the other question for me was just to get more information on the communication issues, and what is the breakdown, or what do you see as the problems?
Yeah, I think that that we haven't really communicated our program really thoughtfully or well in the past, and I think that's part of the communication breakdown. And I think, the pandemic was hard for everyone, and even before that, we were still trying to figure that out. And with the multiple administration change, it's been challenging for our school in general. And my hope for the future is that we can start within and work our way out. Like, who are we and what do we do and what's our program and who are we as core, and then how are we communicating that to the broader community? So I don't know if that's answers your question, but
No, that was. And so in the understanding of who you are, that's at all levels. You're saying internally, okay. Thank you. And then the last question was on the anti-racism committee, and just understanding the work that they're doing.
yeah, I'm actually on the committee. I'm not on many committees, but this one is near and dear to my heart. Last school year we started the anti-racism committee, and our focus was our own learning. So we did a lot of readings and talking, and we focused on that. And even though none of us consider us experts in the least, but we wanted to move it further out and provide information to the staff. So this school year, we've taken on four staff meetings, 2 in the fall and 2 in the spring. And the idea is that we've, always recognizing our biases, but really, how do we make it real with our practice? And how do we make it tangible? And how are we asking those questions to make us even more thoughtful in our everyday interactions with each other and with students? So that's our goal, which is a pretty big goal. And I think that's okay. It's okay to have a big goal. And so, I work with, there's this fantastic committee that's really kind of being as thoughtful as possible. Just focusing in, we decided to do a focus question for each person and to think of data and evidence and analyze that and see how we can kind of change our way of thinking, which changes our way of our practices. So we're aligning to Equity Literacy Institute, which is a resource that one of the committee members brought in, and we're really focusing on the first ability, which is recognizing the biases and inequities, and then what we did is focusing and creating a focus question based on the knowledge and skills and actions of that, which I'm happy to send that resource around if that's helpful. Yeah.
Real quick, just as a follow-up on that, how many people are on the anti-racism committee?
Quite a few. There's 5 of us, and at the beginning of the year there was more, but then there's a lot of things happening after school meeting-wise, so it was hard for some people to commit to the meeting, so it didn't work out for some people. So currently 5.
Well, thank you so much for the presentation. My other question is related to flex time. What's been the response from the students and from the staff with regards to flex time? How, now that we've got nearly a semester under our belt with it?
Yeah, it's pretty positive, actually. We provide, so I think Oceana is doing things a little differently. I don't know if you've ever heard that from us.
Never. Clearly.
But we have flex time Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and then we have advisory Fridays. And the idea is that advisors are supporting students in signing up for flex time thoughtfully, because we don't just do academic support during flex time, which every teacher is doing at least one academic support for their content, but also if there's like basketball is done, or weight training, or puzzles, or silent reading. And so students get a variety of options to choose throughout the week of what they need in that moment. And, I think it's working well. The schedule committee did a data analysis of the Ds and Fs from first semester for our first progress report from last year and this progress report, and it seems like it's decreased, the Ds and Fs. So we'll just continue to kind of track that data to see how it's going, and move things around as needed.
And is it a half hour, or how long is flex time each day?
45 minutes.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. What I'm hearing a lot of throughout is accountability. And that's being honest with yourself, and just the fact you started out saying this mission statement isn't us anymore, and we're working on changing it, because this is not us. And then also deciding not to change the SIPSA too much because you're learning. And that's being true to yourself, and that's going to help your school. And then I'm also hearing community building. I remember, I think, Kalima, you were heavily involved with the Oceana PTO at one point. Yes. Yeah, so it was such a robust group. And just going to the back-to-school night, they had the table. I know one of the parents already. She's already inviting me to things. And so I think that, they're trying to bring the community together. I think also that community art project, because is also doing the same thing. And I really commend Oceana for that, because whenever I go to Oceana, I see all the art. And I didn't realize it hasn't been updated. I just thought it was a living thing, and that it was always something, kids were constantly contributing to it. So I think this is like because with art, there's heart. So this is that ownership and just becoming more, a bigger fixture in the school community. I think it's fantastic. But I'm really glad you're at Oceana still as their leader. And I look forward to visiting and going to see your exhibition. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But thank you so much. Thank you. Ms. Presta? Any comments?
You know, I didn't know I was going to have a chance to comment, so I didn't formulate any, but I wanted,
No, I
actually,
didn't wanna-
actually, I'm glad you gave me the opportunity. I want to say that you're doing a fabulous job, and I'm very proud of you. And we did talk about how she was approaching her SIPSA, and I'm just really glad that you chose to do it the way you did, because as the board members have said, I mean, you can do something just to kind of get it done. You can do it thoughtfully, and you're choosing to certainly comply with what needs to be complied with and do what needs to get done, but to be thoughtful about it. And I really respect that. And I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you again. And now, we have our Director of Communications and Staff Housing, Mr. Austin Warden, giving our presentation on the educational housing at 705 Serramonte.
Thank you, President Tejada and the board and cabinet. It's an honor to present an update on our educational housing at 705 Serramonte. In this brief presentation, I'll review current occupancy updates. Oh, sorry, I didn't share the screen yet. Oh, that's okay. Sure. All right. So in tonight's presentation, I'll give you a brief update on occupancy rates, residential demographics, and financial breakdowns, along with us being in the media, updates for our Educational Housing Corporation, and overall just big wins this project has provided our district. All right, a quick little timeline review. So 19 employees moved into 705 Serramonte the weekend of April 30th, May 1st. 300 people attended our district centennial celebration and official ribbon cutting of 705 on May 13th. 75 employees were living in 705 on the first day of school, August 9th. And 100 employees, as of today, currently live in 705, with 97 of those units being occupied. So as we know in our last presentation, at 705, we have 59 one-bedroom homes. 9 of those are the one-bedroom plus, which were quite popular. They were snatched up very fast during our lottery last March and April. So for our one-bedroom breakdown, and there's a picture of Miss Nicole Polo from Westmore High. We have 45 currently occupied one-bedroom units. We have 2 that are in process. That means we have employees that are ready to move in very soon, and that leaves us with 12 available. We have 56 two-bedroom homes. Currently 45 also occupied, 2 also going through process, with 8 still available. And that's Michaela Ott, a teacher at Jefferson High. And of course, we have our 3 7-bedroom, or 7-bedroom, our 3.
We want to move in.
We have our 7 3-bedroom homes. And all of those are currently occupied by staff. And there's a photo of Courtney Phil on move-in day. So I'm going to throw a lot of numbers your way. I actually had quite a bit of fun crunching these numbers for you because all of these numbers are highly impressive, but also represent, I think, what we were aiming towards at this point of the process. So roughly 20% of our overall district, we're currently at 530 staff members. So almost 20% of our district is living in 705. And I know our goal was roughly 25, so we're very close to that. So again, the breakdown, we have 97 rented. We have 7 going through the process, or excuse me, 4 moving in soon, 7 starting the process, and then 14 with those combined available. So current breakdown with our 100 employees, 45% of the staff living in 705 are classified, with 55% certificated. Also very close to our goal of 60% certificated, 40% classified. So very proud to see us very close to that projected number. There's a breakdown per site. I won't go through all these numbers, but as you can see, the lighter green is our certificated staff, the darker green is our classified, and the numbers kind of teeter throughout. But again, very exciting to see the representation from all of our sites here in the district. All right, so the biggest goal of this project, right? Retainment and recruitment, the two R's and R's. So as you can see from looking at this chart, based on our 100 employees, with our returning staff, we have 47 certificated members, and we have 30 classified. Brand new hires going into this school year, we currently have 15 certificated staff members, and we have 8 classified. Our goal was 5. So it's really neat that we very much surpassed that number. And also, too, as we know, we started this year with a full teaching staff. Current resident breakdown by household size. This was a fun one for me to crunch. We currently have 193 residents overall living in 705 Serramonte. So along with our 100 employees, we have their children, their partners, their spouses, their roommates, their friends, and it's just really to see that life being filled into the rooms and units and spaces of 705 truly is a wonderful experience. I won't go through all of these numbers, but you can see that breakdown there. Breakdown by age group. So our biggest age range are our 31 to 40-year-olds, and as you go through the pie chart, you can see where it really falls in terms of all of our age groups. But it's neat to see that between ages 6 to 12 of note, we have 17 children in that group. Ages 13 to 17, we have 14. 18 to 25, 21. 26 to 30, 32. 41 to 50, 31. And over the age of 51, we have 26. And we have 9 little ones in there too. So our current resident breakdown by AMI, or area medium income, and this was based on their self-reporting as they did in their initial eligibility forms. You can see that the majority of our staff at 59% or almost 60% is at or below the 70% of AMI. So we are really, again, we are providing this need for our staff living in the high expensive Bay Area. We are able to provide for them what they're desperately needing right now, and that's affordable housing.
Is that total household?
That is the total household. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. That is from the, it was a combined, yes, with total household.
It's total household.
That is correct, I'm
But
sorry.
self-reported.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to go back to which form
Yeah.
we used,
Yeah,
correct.
but still. Wow, okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was their in the initial eligibility priority. This is the form that they filled out, and that was combined with household. Great question, thank you. So right now, we do give the option of payroll deduction. It is encouraged but not required. So currently, as of November 10th, we have 35% of our staff living in 705 electing to utilize this option, with 63% or 20 staff members certificated doing so, and 38% or 12 classified members choosing to do so. Financial breakdowns, I'm actually going to let Deputy Superintendent Rapphorst go over this slide.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So financially, I want to assure the board that we are financially sound with this project. The operations, the long-term maintenance, the debt is all scheduled to be covered by the rents that are coming in. We set the rents in a way that we knew it was going to take time for us to lease up. We are falling a little bit short of projections, but in the scheme of things, it's not very much. So right now we're about, after the first 4 months, about $62,000 short of our projections, which if that continues, we might end up the fiscal year short by $186,000. But we have $1.3 million set aside that is there for a cushion. And we plan to not spend that money on anything else until we are well into operations for this project. And the EHC does get statements from Boulevard regularly, as does Mr. Warden and myself.
And so we are monitoring this, and of course, we'll flag any problems that come up. But I'm very happy to say that we will definitely be able to make our debt payments.
Pet breakdown, just a fun little slide for you.
Do you have any pictures?
I don't. I should have taken some. But we have 44 units that have at least one pet, and then 8 of those have at least 2 pets. So.
I want breakdown by pet type.
That was a fun one. So 7:05 in the news. When we moved in our first group of staff members the weekend of April 30th, May 1st, we anticipated some media attention. I don't think we realized the nationwide media attention we would receive and continue to receive on this project. I'm just going to review a few of the big major syndicates that have picked up our story, if you will. So San Francisco Chronicle, they actually this past weekend ran their 3rd feature on our staff housing, which was exciting. The Associated Press, once they picked up that story last spring, really, this story went nationwide. And from there, you can see the following reached out. CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell, ABC's Good Morning America, California School Board Association, School Administrator Magazine, a national publication, CFT Education, Fox News, CNN, and PBS were part of a documentary, actually, that's airing in early 2023. I will share that with you once I have more information. And again, dozens upon dozens of nationwide syndicates and publications have ran our story. So very exciting. So I do have one little media clip to share. It might play with an ad, so if it does, I think we're okay. Oh, there's the ad, so I apologize.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Because we're watching Fox.
Oh, my
exactly.
gosh, you're right.
That's why.
That makes sense, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
My
There
goodness.
we go.
La, 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 la.
Boy. Is there sound? I'm glad there isn't
Jake's
right
working
now.
on sound. It's not for this part.
I know, I'm glad they're in.
I'm glad there isn't.
They're
Yeah.
saying la, la, la.
Oh, my.
And scroll down.
Yeah.
Exactly. There you go.
So I apologize for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Sound coming through.
We can't hear it.
Don't know if it's something.
At home can hear it?
Can anybody hear it?
Embedded videos. They're like the bane of
So as we watch it without sound, and of course, you can find all of these on our educational housing website. Those are linked regularly. We do have Jefferson High School teacher Rebecca Jasmine. She was interviewed for this. We have Devontae Bird, who we recently hired as a van driver for our district. He's featured, and Superintendent Presta is also featured in this media clip. The reporter talks about how even though salaries have gone up just a little in the Bay Area, the cost of living has gone up substantially
Oh, look at that
higher.
smart
There we
lady.
go. Overall, so again, this was just one of the many, many media outlets that have reached out to us that we've worked with. I've truly enjoyed being both Director of Staff Housing and Communication, seeing the marriage of my 2 roles come together as I work with these media outlets. So it's been a lot of fun for me as well.
Doing a great job.
Yeah.
So I will pause it there. Again, I encourage everyone to go to our educational housing website to watch the gamut of all of these interviews, which are linked there. I apologize for the sound.
It's okay.
I don't.
It's all right.
Me too.
I apologize.
You did get to see
I want to
a few of
know.
those pets.
Yeah, I want to know more about the 7-bedroom units.
Me too. So as mentioned earlier, we do still have our Educational Housing Corporation Board. I do have a few updates for you. We're now meeting every other month. The EHC continues to oversee the operations of 705. We recently had Bruce Wright, a retired CPA and Pacifica resident, join and replace John Niblin as our community representative on the board. Ananda Shives, she's our district CSIS specialist here at the district office, replaced Erica Lowenberg, who was a former Westmore High School registrar, as the employee representative, not planning to live in 705 on our board. Our next meeting will actually take place this Thursday, December 8th at 6 p.m. in this room, where I will share this presentation again to the EHC. And there's a photo of our EHC president, Mr. Mike O'Neill, with the Obadoza family on Halloween, where we hosted a cute little trick-or-treat reception for our families in the community room of 705. So big wins for the district. As we know, this list could go on, but overall, by providing affordable staff housing, we've been able to reunite families living in different countries. We've been able to recruit quality staff from all over the state and the country. We've been able to provide first-time on-their-own housing to our staff, some staff members in their 30s and 40s who have never been able to live or afford to live on their own, and support staff in all stages of both their professional and personal lives and careers. So thank you so much for allowing me to present tonight. I want to give a big shout out to Ed and Jonathan from Boulevard. They helped me find a lot of these statistics and numbers, and also a big shout out to Deputy Superintendent Tina Van Raphorst for all of her support. So any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Board members?
I'm so proud. Every time I pass by that thing going to Serramonte, it's just, and people are living in it. It's just like, it's so exciting and it's so wonderful and it just looks so new and beautiful. But I also want to acknowledge, Mr. Warden, that you really have come into your role and done such a fantastic job just with the communication and leading all the media and everything, and of course, Ms. Van Raphorst. But thank you very much for doing a great job.
Thank you.
Just to echo that, it's good to see things come full circle, but then move forward as well. And so, I know as a teacher living here in Daly City, barely keeping afloat with rent is almost half the battle. And with a lot of discussions with, friends and colleagues over the years, trying to remain, I guess, not just afloat, but be able to build. Looking at the financial breakdowns, not just for our district, obviously, but for our families living here. We have a good range of incomes for those who I'm sure, because I'm in that range as well. Like, they're able to not only afford rent, but to be able to begin to save. And so with the timelines that we're looking at, I hope we can extend a timeline for many of the people who would like to live, with, our district here at 705 moving forward. And when we first started talking about this, workforce housing has always been kind of a dream in San Francisco to get started. I have a lot of peers and friends who work in the city, thinking about those things, but we have to set the bar somewhere in the Bay Area. I think the work we've done here as a smaller district has been able to establish that. And there are other districts making inroads with us in the step with that, but also I think because of our example. And so thank you for your work and obviously for the work of the district in promoting this, not just locally, but obviously nationally. It is, when you make CNN, you're international news. And so considering education as one sector to be supporting, I hope that this message also spreads to other sectors where, as the public sector, many industries see investing in their workforce as investing in communities, in our cities and our states, and of course, our larger national community, and kind of inspiring people to prioritize housing as a human right. I think there's much bigger issues at play, obviously, in our community in fighting gentrification, and I think this is a great step forward in making that argument to remind ourselves that we're worth the housing, even if the housing seems out of our price range. But these are the kind of things that build lives and the lives of pets. I appreciate you putting it up there. Animal rights are also important. They are. And they are part of our families and part of our community. And so thinking holistically about these things, I look forward to hearing more. And thank you again for your work.
So thank you for the presentation. This was great, and I echo what everyone said about the work that you've done, Austin. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much. So I have a couple of questions, and again, I apologize for not seeing them in advance. This week has been a little crazy, but I have had some discussions while we were at CSBA. the thing that stuck with me at CSBA is that, you know, at the talk that we gave to the public, and then we were invited to a private meeting with just a couple districts, all these districts coming up are getting a lot of help on how to do this. So we are like ahead of the curve. So we didn't get any help in doing this and trying to figure this out. And now we're kind of in the next stage where we have become the poster child, pretty much, of workforce housing, and are in this new stage where we are still not getting any help or assistance. So that makes me nervous, you know, because there's no other, the feel-good stories are great. The tear-down stories are also just as popular, you know, so if we make a mistake, it can reverberate throughout the whole state and the nation on whether or not this was a good idea. So the focus on the next steps once we get, because we're still in the honeymoon phase, once we move past the honeymoon phase is kind of where I'm at right now. And that this is not the solution to the problem of Bay Area housing, right? This is a temporary help. But what happens at the end of the temporary? And so right now we have 5 years, we may have more, but right now we have 5 years to think about that. And so getting started thinking about that, and also getting more conversation on like what role does the full board have in that conversation versus the EHC? You know, I'm still confused about who, you know, so do we have the discussion here that gives you guys a guidance to go to EHC, or should we even be talking about this stuff here because we don't want any of the discussion to happen here? So first figuring that part of the dynamic out. And the other thing I would love to do is to have another meeting with the community college board, and we could have another joint session, because they are at the point, you know, and also having a conversation with Santa Clara Unified. Because while we can talk to the community college district, their employee staffing and how their staff moves is drastically different from a K-12. So I welcome their guidance, but I also would like to talk to a K-12 about what happened when you got to the 5, 7, whatever, 10. Are they there yet? And how, you know, and any other issues that may have come up, because again, it was hugely impactful for us, even though we didn't have the plethora of information that we are now providing for free to all the other school districts. Even getting the information from the community college district and their guidance saved us a whole lot of money, and helped us avoid a lot of pitfalls. So being able to start that work sooner rather than later is one major focus of mine, and what I would like us to focus. The other question I had is just is on Boulevard and hearing how they are doing. So I'll just let you.
So they've had some staffing issues as well, and that's just the current climate of where we're at. I am proud to say that their current office staff, through that transition, they now have a new site property manager here at 705 who comes to us with years and years of property management experience with Boulevard and other residential companies. And so it's been nice to see his taking the helm of that and to see his expertise now coming into that day-to-day routine through Boulevard. So really excited about where Boulevard is going. The positive, I don't want to say changes, but the positive additions that this new property manager has made to the company and in turn to us as a district.
And then the other questions that I had were on the financial breakdowns, and thank you for this, Tina. This helped me put this all in perspective. So yeah, I'm not too worried about the open. So I'm just thinking more about how long do we want to keep things empty? You know, I think that it may be good. I know we have 12, and then next year maybe like 3 or 4. I think we may be good to just go ahead keeping it empty for new hire,
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's definitely something that's on the agenda for the EHC to start discussing.
Okay.
We've talked about that already, and Andy, you can probably, and Rosie, you could probably speak to it also. I think our goal is to at least wait a year before we decide whether we want to hit that safety net, which is to allow our feeder districts to participate. But we always want to be able to recruit.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that there are vacancies at hiring time. And I don't think we'll be able to know what kind of movement we're having and to know how hard it is to fill the apartments for at least a year, maybe two. As the people who are not interested in the housing right now that are our current employees, as their life situations change,
Right.
they may become interested. And we're seeing that every day. So, yeah, because we have a cushion, my advice is to let it ride for at least a year or two.
No, I would agree with that. And I think going back to your first question about the separation between us and the EHC, I've been thinking a bit about that more, and I think part of it is the fact that we have to look at it as another 2x2 from our perspective as a board, as a board subcommittee, at least that's how I look at it, where at least a vision comes from the school board on what we would like to see, and we bring it back to the EHC as something to push the EHC forward. I mean, in my mind, I think we have less than 5 years to come up with a plan. I think we have like the next 12 months to come up with a plan so that we can encourage people to start saving and figure out what a potential exit strategy at the end of year 5 or year 7 could potentially look like, because we do want them to be able to move on to whatever the next thing might be. You know, granted, some people might have a shorter time span because their life changes, you know, whether it's the addition of a partner and their income goes up by substantially and they have to move elsewhere. So those are the sorts of things that we can't plan for.
Right.
But I do think that if we're talking about these types of things, it should be a direction from the school board to us to bring back to the EHC, because I think that the role of the school board members on the EHC board is to make sure that the vision of the board is also executed. That said, going back to the presentation, fantastic job.
Were you done?
That's okay. Yeah, go ahead. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
A fantastic job. And I really appreciate the numbers that you've shared, because I think this really just highlights that the work we've done is we are doing the job that we were looking to do with this property. Thank you.
Great presentation. First, it's so beautiful to look at. It's very engaging, but also it's you. I think your personality shines through, and I think that's I think because you used to be an
Activities director.
activities director back in the day, you have this engaging way about you, and I think you're doing such a great job. And then also, giving us this information. I think that, we had no idea how big this would get in the media, but I think you've handled it so well. I know that we've been getting a lot of inquiries and having to set up some way to funnel all that, which is a huge thing. But and I appreciate all the work you've been doing on the EHC.
Are we going to stop interviews at some point? Because, I mean, just watch another interview.
Oh.
I don't have a question. I don't have an answer for that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're asking me directly if we're going to stop doing
I'm just
interviews?
asking, like,
I
at
don't
some
know.
point, are we going to cut? I mean, if you want information, like, there's
Yeah.
tons of interviews, like, so people could just be at home.
Yeah, so I don't have, I wasn't prepared for that question.
no
I
worries, yeah.
I don't know if there's an answer, but I will also share with you, are you done? Because I don't want to jump over you.
I'm pretty done.
You can be
No,
done,
go
and
ahead.
I'll share my, you can finish and I can.
No, I said go ahead.
So, I will say, I thank you. That was a fabulous presentation, and I concur. I think you know that I try to tell you every day how grateful I am for you. You're doing a fabulous job, and I do think that we did not envision communication and housing as like a marriage that needed to happen. We just needed those two people, right? But it has, your talents have shown through with both. To address your question, yeah, I'm torn as a superintendent it's really fabulous to get all this press and to get all these accolades, and it's really gratifying. And it's nice to help other school districts. And my staff has work to do. You know what I mean? So there's like, they're really like, I think this is at least part of the point that you're making. Like, we've got stuff to do that this takes time. It takes Austin's time to give tours, and it takes Austin's time to find people to do these interviews, and it takes staff time to do this. So yeah, I mean, I certainly haven't made that decision. I think we should talk about that though, because I'm trying to make sure that people are able to do their jobs, right? Because they have to do their jobs no matter what. Mm-hmm. And so it definitely, that's a very valid question. And I certainly don't have the answer. But I think we do at some point need to go, okay, we can't do that.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Because I'm just saying, my point was, what haven't we said already on news? And if I've seen people already recycle the story, like recycle the footage. So I don't know why they need to come here and do new footage to do that. Like, if they want to do a story, they can do a story. They don't need to physically be here. You can recycle footage. Just so, like, how long are we just going to have camera crews going through, you know?
Yeah, I don't think I think that actually has died down. The camera crews and all of that I don't know when the last people were here, but that has, I think they've started recycling the footage now.
We haven't had a camera crew on site for over a month and a half now.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say that part has.
Yeah.
I have seen a curve that when the media runs something, there is another affiliate or another organization that reaches out because they saw it, right? Very much ABC reached out after CBS.
Right.
So you do see that positive domino effect that happens. I am anticipating after the CNN and PBS documentaries that we might see one more little resurgence of media reaching out. But in terms of camera crew physically being on site, it's been a few weeks now.
And I think that the, maybe not the bigger thing, but at least as big, is school districts and other groups seeing those stories and then calling Tina, calling Austin, calling me, calling you. Like, that I think is almost the greater effort goes into answering people's questions and helping. And to that end, we've talked about really beefing up the information on the Educational Housing Committee page so that you can say, great, why don't you look at our page? And then, if you have another question, you can come back to us. And I think you guys, I'm not in those meetings, but we talked about doing that. I'm sure you're doing that.
Or if they're a school district in the state, redirecting them to CSBA, because the thing that we were at, like, they seem to be offering like a really almost like the equity committee or the equity network, the same thing for housing. So which they may not be aware of, they may not need to come to us. Like, CSBA seems to be providing a really good training program for what we saw when we were there.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much again for all that information.
Thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
Of our action items, Human Resources Resolution 2022-23/9, the 180-day wait period exception for PERS retirees. Ms. Lujan.
Evening, everyone. The resolution before you this evening is a resolution to waive the 180-day waiting period for a recent PERS retiree who we would like to bring back for extra help with a backlog project that we just have not had the capacity to get to. And so passing this resolution would allow us to bring them back sooner than the 180 days, which won't come till about May. And I welcome any questions.
Any questions? We have a motion?
Move to approve Resolution 2022-2023/9.
And a second from Ms. Ingarrett. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And consideration of future agenda items?
So, I don't know what we're planning or what the agenda will be for the work study that we have coming up, but it would be nice to have some time to discuss, if not there, maybe on the regular agenda, things that we want to talk about that we learned at CSBA.
Mm-hmm.
Because Andy, Rosie, and I, which, you know, we go to and then we can't talk about it because of violation of the Brown Act, the three of us went to and then can't discuss it, is the Campbell, we went to the equity discussion from Campbell Unified, and it was phenomenal. It was just really impressive. And so I would love to discuss what we learned there and talk about maybe how we can bring some of that here.
Yeah, we can add that. I know that Jefferson Elementary, typically after CSBA, each board member during subsequent meetings shares something they've learned. So perhaps we can do that. Okay.
I haven't discussed it with you guys, but I know that I attended an equity session with two of the incoming board members. We all kind of randomly chose the same equity session, which I thought was pretty great. But there was a lot of stuff that we learned there as well. But yeah, so let's talk about the best way to do that. But I agree, having a way to share what we've learned.
Okay, because that's our PD. Mr. Ochapinti?
Yeah, district elections should be on the agenda. Obviously, I won't be here. Trustee Ingier won't be here, but I think looking at where elections are today, literally and today, and in terms of creating, free and fair elections across our county, our city and our school district certainly need to be a part of that discussion and move forward with that process immediately. So I would encourage you to consider district elections for our county, for our district.
Trustee area elections? Okay. All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Good night, everyone.